What you are listening to now is the Central Indiana Sports Report podcast number 330.1, our IndyCar Toronto preview with Elijah Poe, including qualifying results from Saturday and predictions and top storylines going into Sunday's race.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, IndyCar fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report and our preview for the race in Toronto with Elijah Poe. Elijah is joining me on the Riverside app, and we are going to first review the qualifying and then go over who we think the favorites are and what to expect in Sunday's race. First, welcome, Elijah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Super excited to see IndyCar back on a street course, and it should be a great race for Toronto. It usually always provides some of the best racing we see on the street year in and year out.
Also, it seems like there are maybe a couple of obstacles on the course as well, which should make things interesting.
Yeah, very bumpy this year. So much so that they actually put in some asphalt overnight leading up to that turn 3. It's a big passing zone. They got so many complaints from drivers that they added some asphalt.
If you watch the practice, there were one time 3 cars in the runoff at the same time.
Yeah, they almost look like bumper cars out there. The way once they hit a bump, they catch so much air because they're going so fast.
Yeah.
And I don't know how
and
they do it.
It's their braking zone. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it because it's pretty much the whole lap.
Well, now they've had 2 days of practice and a qualifying session, so they know it's there, so no excuses going in now. And there's also a spot, I believe it's in turn 6, where there's a piece of slippery concrete.
Yes, I heard multiple drivers say yesterday that this is some of the slickest they've ever been in anywhere in an IndyCar, which is usually surprising. It's not really what you want to hear, but hey, maybe that provides us for a great race.
It does. And like I said, they've had plenty of opportunity to get used to it. They know it's there now. No excuses anymore. And here we go, Elijah, with the lineup for tomorrow's noon race in Toronto. Of course, on Fox. Very good coverage on the qualifying and practice this week from those guys. I think that crew is starting to really gel.
Yeah, they're definitely getting better, even graphic-wise as well. They added a new graphic where if you're in the top 6 and your speed is faster than your previous lap, they put a little green box around your name. It's stuff like that is really going to bring in new fans, and it's going to keep old fans wanting to stay just because the product has improved so much. And it's only been 10 races, 11 races, so really great to see them.
I've often said that they need to, during the race, when a driver moves up a spot, put him in green. When one moves down a spot, put him in red. So even if we don't see it, we know what's happening, and we can actually watch the graphic move and turn from green to red. Maybe that's the next in the works, but that's something that they definitely need to do. Colton Herta did the 1.786 mile track with 11 turns in 59.832 seconds to win the pole. No surprise there, Elijah.
No, super impressive. This is his 3rd pole at Toronto in his career, and in 2025 on street courses, he started 2nd at St. Pete, 2nd at Long Beach, 1st at Detroit, and now 1st at Toronto. Just incredible. How the Andretti cars as a whole have been moving on street courses, but you got to give credit to Colton Herta for stringing it together on every street course this season.
And sometimes Andretti's cars roll out at certain tracks, and they're just the best cars there. And while the rest of his team struggled on Saturday, Elijah, Alex Palou is on the outside of row 1.
Yeah, and this is one of his best starting. I think it is the best starting spot he's had at Toronto, and definitely important to be starting up top here. The last 5 races won in Toronto. The winners came from the front row, so seeing Herta and Palou up there, I couldn't think of 2 better drivers to battle on a street course than those 2.
Second row, Marcus Armstrong, who was the fastest of his group in the first round. Impressive performance by Meyer Shank.
Yeah, it really is really impressive what he's doing. He's still relatively new to the IndyCar series, but he's had these performances sprinkled in throughout his young career where you really just can see how talented he is, and no more than having a third place today in qualifying. That's huge for a Meyershank team. And, he's in top 10 in the points as well. So super important.
Penske struggled again today, but Will Power is starting on the outside of row 2. He found something.
Yeah, that's a really great result for Power. I'll be interested to see where they can finish tomorrow. But being in the Fast Six is very great, and they brought it up on the Fox broadcast. Will Power hasn't had a pole on a road or street course in 3 years. Everywhere else in the last 3 years, his poles have come from ovals only. So to see him be up there in P4 is a great spot for him to start tomorrow.
Yeah, at one point in his career, we were saying, could he win on an oval? And that's kind of changed in his career. The inside of row 3 is Graham Rahal. Great day for that team and for Graham.
I think that was a surprise for everyone seeing Rahal up there. Obviously, RLL was pretty quick. They had Louis Foster, who just got bumped in the Fast 12. He was so close to making that Fast 6. But to see Rahal in 5th, I know he was begging on the broadcast for a clean race, and that RLL team really needs to keep their nose clean and get a good result here.
And then Kyle Kirkwood, I was saying going into this strategy, he's saving it all for one lap, which is great if you have a perfect lap, and he didn't. So he'll be starting 6th.
Yeah, really just threw away his own result there with the mistake. Just got out from underneath them and slid exiting a corner. So
it'll be fun watching him tomorrow.
Yeah, I was about to say, regardless, he's going to be good. And he's definitely going to be contending for a podium. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is able to challenge Palou and Herta as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about the top contenders here in a minute, but he will definitely be on that list. Row 4, as you mentioned, Louis Foster, great result. Marcus Ericsson, the slowest of the Andrettis, but still on the outside of row 4. Then row 5, Rinus VeeKay, great performance today again for that team. Second fastest in his opening group.
Yeah, excellent. He continues to string it together. And he was really close to making that Fast 6. Really close. Just got knocked out by a couple tenths. And, in a Dale Coyne car, I think he might be one of the best drivers of this season. Just to see the results he's putting in that car, it's incredible.
And then next to him is Pato O'Ward. It's just not McLaren's weekend.
No, and they've said multiple occasions that they just really struggle around Toronto. But Pato was pretty optimistic in his post-qualifying interview. He said they've got the best race car he's had there in his career, and how aggressive he is. He's such a skilled driver. So if he does have a car that can surge through the field, he'll be super fun to watch.
Row 6 Elijah is Scott Dixon and Callum Ilott. Ilott had a great first round, and then what was he angry about after his second round?
Yeah, he was pretty ticked off. He called the other drivers on the grid a bunch of Muppets for getting in the way of his qualifying runs. It just seems like he wasn't able to string together a full run. But regardless, the starting P12, second Fast 12 for Prema Racing, they've got to be thrilled with the result, even if they're hoping it was a little bit better.
No doubt about it. And again, Elijah, the two guys that we keep calling their season incomplete are starting on the same row. Nolan Siegel and Kiffin Simpson. Again, a lot of promise for these two on really good teams. The results just haven't been there. But you got some news on Nolan Siegel, right?
Yeah, Nolan Siegel he was already confirmed to be in the number 6 Air McLaren seat next year. But today, Tony Kanaan said he'll be in that seat for 2026 and beyond, which is interesting. He hasn't had the greatest results. He's still pretty new to the series as a whole, but being in a top team like Air McLaren, I'd be interested to see where he can end some of these races to close out his season in 2025 and maybe have a nice top 5 or maybe even a podium if we're stretching it. It would be a great end to his season.
They obviously see something that I don't think that we have seen to have that kind of confidence in him. A very talented row 8 with Scott McLaughlin and David Malukas.
Yeah, maybe future Penske teammates getting a little action here.
Could be.
There should be a great row. It just seems like Scott and the other Penske and Newgarden just kind of lacked the pace as a whole, and the way IndyCar is now, if you don't have a perfect lap, you're not going to advance. And Scott just wasn't able to make it, but starting 15th, should be interested to see him. He's usually pretty strong on these street courses.
And, of course, Malukas was my dark horse coming in to the race, and the qualifying results do not show that he will be a contender Again, we'll talk about that in just a minute. And then the inside of the next row is Felix Rosenquist, who you picked as your dark horse coming in.
Yeah, pretty much same thing with Scott McLaughlin. Had a good lap, but man, you've just got to be perfect in IndyCar now. And especially when you've got a lap time that's a minute or just under a minute and 59 seconds, you've really got to be perfect. One mistake, one wrong turn, one wrong bump. I mean, that can bump you from qualifying. But regardless, it'll be interesting to see him starting so low. He's obviously been rapid throughout this season. He's fourth in the points or fifth in the points for a reason.
And his teammates up there too, so the cars are probably going to be pretty fast.
Exactly.
And Malukas and Rosenquist were both faster than Joseph Newgarden, who starts 18th.
Poor Joseph Newgarden. I'll tell you what, that Group 2 for qualifying was absolutely brutal. Just brutal. Yeah. Group 2 advancing out of it is Armstrong, VK, Palou, Ericsson, Herta, and Pato. That is really, really, really stacked group for Joseph Newgarden to get out of, and just wasn't able to get through. Starting in 18th, it's obviously further back than he'd want to start, but starting in the middle of the pack, especially on a street and road course, got to be careful for any cautions early.
No doubt about that. Doesn't look like this is a weekend we're going to see a Dane in victory lane. Christian Lundgaard is starting 19th. Robert Schwartzman 20th. He had a pretty good day despite starting 20th.
Yeah, he did. I would have thought Lundgaard would have been a little bit higher. He's usually not out qualified by Nolan
Rough
Siegel,
weekend for McLaren. Rough weekend.
It is. This is a track they're not great at, but it's just unfortunate. Lundgaard's so far down after having a good result last weekend at Iowa.
And on the inside of row 11 is our favorite, Connor Daly of Juncos Hollinger. Next to him is the other Dane, Christian Rasmussen, who had a little bit of bad luck.
Yeah, honestly, these ECR cars as a whole were pretty miserable this weekend. Have really lacked pace as a whole, and they've honestly been nowhere to be seen.
Then on row 12 is Santino Ferrucci and Alexander Rossi. Rough day for them. Interesting week for Stingray Robb, who's starting 20.
Yeah, had a trailer fire coming out of Iowa Speedway. There's some videos of that on X. It's pretty crazy. They had a lot of teams kind of stop and help. And as far as I'm aware of this week, that actually some of the teams helped Juncos Hollinger Racing lug some of their gear up to Toronto. So great to see that the paddock have their family relationship with each other.
Starting 26th is Devlin DeFrancesco. And it's bad enough when you're starting in the back when the whole team's struggling. But his team was really good today, and he still was really bad.
Yeah, I think you said it great. Just saying his name, just absolutely, just a stinker of a qualifying performance. And to have almost two cars in the Fast Six and one car in the Fast Six, you just can't start that low. And we've had this Devlin conversation for pretty much the whole season, and I think it's pretty much in stone that there's going to be somebody else in that 30 seat next year. I feel like there has to be.
And starting 27th is Jacob Abel, who had a crash in qualifying.
Just a rough season for him. Obviously a rookie, still trying to figure out everything in that Dale Coyne seat. Hopefully overall this year, he's just learning everything he can from Marinus. Such a valuable teammate to have in this sport.
Looks to me, Elijah, like three serious contenders tomorrow. You'd probably put three guys in a class together. Herta, Palou, and Kirkwood. Who's your pick? And outside of those three, who do you think might be there?
Yeah, I agree with you that it's going to be Herta, Palou, or Kirkwood, but I really like Colton Herta to get his first win in 2025. Obviously, he was great here last year, and he's been really close to victory lane this year. Andretti's just had some problems in the pits, either stalling or if it's a small issue. So hopefully they're able to rectify that, and I think it'd be good for the series to see another winner that's not Palou or Kirkwood. And I think Herta's got the pace for sure. If I were to pick a dark horse, when you just see Scott Dixon starting in 11th place and with a Chip Ganassi racing car.
Okay, besides Scott Dixon, I should say, because he's starting way down there. We expect he's going to be contending, right?
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, then, I like the. I'll restart.
And I was just kidding.
Honestly, then I know. Honestly, then I'm gonna go for Will Power. I kind of like his shot to win. Starting up in fourth, he's super racy on street courses, and it'd be a good story for Penske to get their first win on a street course. And I would love to see Will Power in victory lane. I don't think anybody wouldn't.
I think you'd probably be pretty dumb to pick Graham Rahal to win the race, but I would really like to see that.
Gosh, that would be awesome. That would be such a great story.
It would. Elijah, I think this is going to be a really good race, particularly for a street race. I really think it's going to be a strategy race. On speed, though, going to be watching those three in particular, Colton Herta, Alex Palou, Kyle Kirkwood. They look like it's going to be a three-horse race.
Yeah, it does. And, 5 of the last winners have started on that front row, and I look at that as a positive thing. I would want nothing more than to turn on my TV and see Alex Palou and Colton Herta absolutely battling in Toronto. Storylines are there, and let's just hope IndyCar can provide us with another great race in 2025.
Thank you so much to Elijah for joining us once again to talk IndyCar. Just a reminder, we talk IndyCar once a week on the IndyCar Report, and then on race weekends, we preview the race after qualifying. Then after the race, we recap it with Elijah and oftentimes some other guests. We, of course, will be doing that on Sunday, right after the race in Toronto. Thanks so much for listening. Please do us a favor and share this podcast with the IndyCar fans in your life. That would help us out a ton. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.